What up, yo? Prince Sports here. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and all that other good stuff. Now, you know the NBA is restarting on July 31st, and players are all going to be consumed together, in this bubble. They're all going to be able to see each other, talk to each other. So this leads to a lot of things. Will some players get together and talk about making a super team the very next season or a couple seasons ahead? Now, let's go over a list of things that could possibly happen from people, talking to each other from the bubble. We're going to start off with the Boston Celtics. Check this combo out. Kemba Walker, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and the new acquirer, Joel Embiid. Okay, Joel Embiid on the Boston Celtics would be great for that team. For the simple fact that he could continue the great legacy of Boston bigs. Rather as Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Bill Russell. So now you will have Joel Embiid to try to bring a championship to the beam, to good old Boston, right? And here's a trade package that will come down for that you have to pull off. Joel Embiid, 3 first-round picks, Gordon Hayward, and Marcus Smart. That's the package that you could pull off to get Joel Embiid. And you will still have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum there. With Kemba Walker. That's a big four. That team would be deadly in the East. No question of doubt about it. So let's move on to the second team. Second team is none other. It's Brooklyn in the house. Brooklyn Nets. All right. Kyrie Irving, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. That's a big three. That team would wreak havoc in the East. They definitely would steal the crown for most and best team in New York, sadly. Every time I look at the Brooklyn Nets, I say, man, that could have been the New York Knicks, man. But if you add Devin Booker with Kyrie Irving, that'd be a crazy backcourt. A scoring crazy backcourt. That backcourt would be sick and arguably one of the best backcourts in the league. Then you add Kevin Durant at the 3, one of the greatest shooters of all time. Man, listen here, man. That'd be a crazy matchup for anybody. And the trade package for that would be Devin Booker, 2 first-round picks, Chris LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, or Jared Allen. You could go back and forth between those two. And that team would definitely get to the finals if you ask me. It'd be the Brooklyn Nets going to the finals if they stay fully healthy. And the last team on this list, actually not the last team on the second to last team on this list, is none other than the Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Steven Adams, and Chris Paul. Now, that team will be a very great team. You have Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Chris Paul. That's a deadly team as well. You could pick Chris Paul at the 1, Paul George at the 2. That's a deadly 1-2 combo right there. And you add Kawhi Leonard, that's a sick squad, man. That team would give a lot of people fits, and they'll be favorites to win the championship again. Then you have a good Rough Rider like Steven Adams on the team. That's a squad right there. Now, in order for the Clippers to get that package, they would have to give up Pat Bev, Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, Zubac, and several other pieces, probably like Terrence Mann or something like that, just to pull this trade off. I don't know if that's too much for Chris Paul and Steven Adams, man. A lot of people that support the Clippers may say, hey, I don't want to pull that off. That's giving too much for an Asian point guard. A point guard that's, you could probably say on his way out the door, but take this into fact. Look what he did for OKC. If he could beast on OKC, he could definitely beast for the Clippers. And that big 3, or big 4 if you want to pit it, with Steven Adams, Chris Paul, PG, and Kawhi, that's a squad to wreck with. Then that brings me to the Toronto Raptors. You could get Giannis Antetokounmpo and Pascal Siakam playing together. That'd be a dangerous 3 and 4. Okay? Man. But look who you have to give up for that. You would have to give up. You also get George Hill in the process. So the Raptors would get Giannis Antetokounmpo, George Hill. They would give up Kyle Lowry, Serge Ibaka, Norman Powell, OG Adebayo, and Terrence Davis. That may be too much. That may be too much. Because Kyle Lowry, man, he fits that system very well. And Serge Ibaka is two pieces that they'll be missing. Is Kyle Lowry replaceable? I don't know. I mean, you got Fred VanVleet right there. So you could put Fred VanVleet in the starting lineup. And that could be a good replacement for Kyle Lowry. But that depletes your depth for the Toronto Raptors. So I don't know if they want to pull a trade off like that. But it may be worth it if you could get the Greek Freak, man. You get a superstar in a Greek Freak, and you pair him up with Pascal Siakam. You just clean the deck a little bit, and you go and get some pieces to replace the pieces that you lost. So it's definitely worth it for the Greek Freak, if you ask me. And this one is per fantasy, man. Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Damian Lillard. That big three would be devastating. But Damian Lillard said that he don't even want to leave Portland. But if they was able to pull that off, you would have to give Damian Lillard to the Los Angeles Lakers for 2 first-round picks. Kyle Kuzma, Danny Green, Avery Bradley, Quan Cook, Alex Caruso. You got to don't win a lot to get that, man. And it may be worth it because you can always get replaceable role players to replace that. You don't have to re-sign Rondo or something like that. He'd be a good backup for Damian Lillard. But this doesn't benefit the Portland Trailblazers. This would be very stupid for them to pull off this trade. So I don't even know why this is in a mix. But nevertheless, it was on this list. So I can't see Portland doing something as stupid as that. But that would bring the Lakers to the top. They would definitely have a chance of winning 2 chips if you put those 3 guys together playing on one team, for sure. Prince Sports out, keep it 3,000. Which one of these super teams you think is more realistic to form? And will it be a result of being in that Orlando bubble? I'm out. Peace.